Today's guest is Eric Wyatt, a dynamic saxophonist whose career is steeped in jazz history and innovation. Born and raised in Brooklyn, Eric was introduced to music by his father, Charles Jolly Wyatt, a musician who played alongside legends like Sonny Rollins, Charlie Parker, and Miles Davis. Early experiences, such as attending his first live concert, led by Sonny Rollins, inspired Eric's lifelong dedication to the art form. Eric has performed and recorded around the globe, collaborating with iconic artists like Kenny Garrett, Roy Hargrove, and Wynton Marsalis. With critically acclaimed albums like Borough of Kings and Golden Rule for Sonny, Eric continues to honor the jazz tradition while blazing his own trail. Join us as we dive into Eric's incredible journey from Harlem clubs to international stages and his deep connection to the legacy of jazz. So, Eric, good to see you.
Great to see you, brother Abe.
So, Eric, we were just talking a little bit before before we hit record, and can you believe that the last living member of that great photo, A Great Day in Harlem, Sonny Rollins, is the last living legend of that photo from 1958?
It's so amazing that you brought that up because literally maybe 2 or 3 days after Benny Golson passed, who I actually met through connections of Sonny.
Rest his soul, too.
Brilliant human beings, man. You know, I've been blessed to be, and I've met Miles. I can remember these, but I'll just say Sonny is in a situation as an elder guy who can't play. He has one of the most amazing senses of humor. Because I know how to talk to Sonny. I've been talking to Sonny on the phone. We really became connected when my father died. Because when my father died, Sonny was a family friend, and I met him many times. I saw several concerts at the Bottom Line, amazing events. As a 12, 13-year-old kid, the audience, the people, the response to I had played music, but not, I was a kid. To see how they treated him and how my dad we never pay. We go on the guest list. We come and we don't sit down. We go to the back. We in the dressing room before the concert. I just remember these things. So when my father died, I was an alto player. I'd always been an alto player. I played alto when I was 13. Basically, I still play it now, but I definitely was an alto player. So when Sonny started calling me after my father died on the phone, like, "Hey, how you doing?" Like, he didn't call me so much prior, is my point, but he made it definitive that he's going to stay in my life.
That's beautiful.
The godson thing came later, but I felt okay. I didn't know Sonny. I knew him, but I didn't. Talking to a guy on the phone call, like, what does he want to talk to me about? But it was just amazing where I'm at now with him. So to make the point, I called him and said, "Sonny, you're the last living guy." And he says, "You had to bring that up." So I'm laughing, and he's got this. He said, "Yeah, I know, Eric." He says, "But you want to hear something else?" I was the youngest guy there.
Wow.
So his sense of humor and memories he said, "I didn't think I should have been there." He never values himself as one of these, he never looked at, because look who he was with. You know what I'm saying? So he's been very consistent with that with me about rating yourself, or, it's about the music, what you present, what you do, and what the audience gets from you. So we've had some amazing conversations, but yes, and then I look up and he writes about it in the New York Times. I'm like, you acted like you didn't want to. Well, you just gotta love the guy. That's all I can say, man.
No, so it sounds like he's a beautiful human being, and to step into that role and be in your life, when your father passed, that's a true sense of
Yeah.
someone who's a gentle soul and has a lot of empathy and compassion. And
Well,
maybe that's what he plays because he
uh,
has all of these emotions in him.
Well, I'll say he's friendly with my one sister. I got two sisters, but my sister Carol, he treats her practically like, she could have been his daughter.
Wow.
He really loves my sister because of the relationship with my mother and the way my sister is amazing. She would fly my mother to Hawaii. She did things. We grew up in the projects, man. We our life was not sugar coated. So when you get to be older and you can take your mother to Hawaii, take her to Vegas. Sonny loved that kind of shit because he loved my mother and he loved the people that he told my sister that I remind him my relationship with my mother reminded him of him with his mother.
Wow.
So it goes beyond music with me with this stuff, man. And to come to realize it after I got a certain age, like, you see the album covers. What the one thing that was, I believe, if I either went to see it, either it was two events. When my dad took me to see Miles Davis, and I saw the guy turn around because I played trumpet at one point. So he turns his back to me, like, why is he doing that? I'm a kid. I don't know the stories. But long story short, the gig is over. My dad goes to the dressing room guy, tells Miles Davis, Charles Wyatt is here. Now, there's a line of people, man, with album covers, pictures, all races, women, men, girls, Jewish, I don't know what couple, but they all waiting in line, and I got it because he's Miles Davis. I realized it as I'm older, but I remember I had the records of his face. So the guy says, "Man, yeah, I'll let him know, but you got to go in the back." And I looked at the people as I walked by. I'm saying, "Yeah, my dad's a little, he should. It's kind of rude to jump the line." I'm saying this as a kid. I remember this clear. I said, "Yeah, my pops, he's cool, but." Before we got to the back of the line, the guy called my dad, and we went in. And I saw this guy that I will never forget this image because somebody should have had a camera there. This ain't the days of phones. He had two women, one sitting on each leg. They both had on black dresses, and they all had a red rose in their hand. I'm not forgetting this. It's like when I saw Godzilla come from Tokyo or King Kong come out the. This guy's deep. Who is this? So
Surreal when you open the door and you see that. It's like a dream or something.
but then he spoke to me and he had that voice, and I never forgot that shit. I was like, wow. But as I got older and realized who he was, I said, damn, your dad knows some people, man.
You weren't aware when you were younger about
Your family, your family's friends.
family friends.
You're not paying. You're not, it's not, they're embracing him. The other musicians are friendly. My dad was friendly with Bob Crenshaw or Al Foster. It's ironic I'm on records with them, but I met those people before I was on the level of that. So I just a quiet pat on my back that I didn't drop the ball in my mind because I felt like I got to make my dad realize that all this stuff that he lived that he didn't get a chance to do. My dad didn't make records. My dad's not on any albums, but he used to practice with Sonny Rollins on the Williamsburg Bridge. My mother told me this. It's in his book. I didn't know this because I was born when that was happening. So it's amazing. I almost look at my dad's life like, imagine if you didn't do the family thing. You're practicing with Sonny, and he talked about it. The gentleman who wrote the book, Aiden Levy, when he wrote his book, he taped Sonny. And he sent me a clip of Sonny saying, yeah, I used to go out and practice in the woods in New Jersey, me and Charlie Wyatt and me and so and so. I'm like, so that's put that on the table. And then here we are, here I am as a saxophonist. But yeah, it was gracious because he didn't do this phone call thing was not with every one of my family members, but it just made me realize I think he's going to stay in touch with you. You need to ride this out because he had told me, I told him that my mother had given me the horn that he had given my dad. She said, you got to take this horn. But I was an alto player. It was a tenor. So I'll never forget that. You're going to play your father's horn. I said, yeah, Sonny, you know that's gold plated, right? Yeah, I know. He says, I don't like gold plated. It makes my teeth
Ah.
shake. So I don't like gold plated horns, and the rest is here I am.
when you have that relationship with Sonny Rollins and you know he's a person in your life, like he's in your life, does that make you play, you set yourself up on a higher bar in a sense? It's almost like it keeps you always wanting to grow and you set your parameters around Sonny Rollins in a sense, what I'm saying.
I'll say this to you. Once he called me his godson, and I made a record called Godson because of his help, because one thing I'll never forget, man. He said to me, if you need me for anything, ask me. And I took that. I'm not talking about I need some money. We're talking about something. So long story short, I was doing these gigs. Uh, we'd have to. I'm going to tell you the side B of this story, but the long story is somebody was trying to help me get a record deal with a company in Japan. The first guy completely dropped the ball. You know his name. I'm not going to say his name over. It made me feel like you can't be serious. Sonny Rollins was going to produce my first record. He was going to come to the studio. I asked him, Sonny, I got something I would like. I got an offer from a company to possibly do a recording. Would you come produce it? What do I have to do? Come to the studio, sit at the desk, da da da. Okay. These guys dropped the ball on me. I got real thick skin, man. You cut me, I'm gonna bleed a little, but I'm not going down. Long story short, a couple of years later, this guy who's playing guitar with my organ group at a gig, always hears me mentioning Sonny Rollins in the ride home in the car, and he asked the organ player, Dan Kostelnik, who's on my first record, how does he talk about Sonny? So he said, oh, that's like his uncle or something. He said, yeah. He says, you think Eric could do a recording, and if he could get Sonny to come to the studio? Bam. He asked me. The first project wasn't something that I wanted to do. He wanted to record me playing at this gig that we played live and have guests sing. I used to run a lot of sessions, as you know. So
I know Dan Kostelnik actually.
Dan's my guy, man. Beautiful guy. So long story short, we make a deal to do the record. They get the company, Japan, King Records. They get Al Foster, Rufus Reid, Mark Soskin. They wanted me to do the songs of Saxophone Colossus. So I wound up doing it. But it came through the impetus of Sonny. It was an amazing day when he came to SR. They want to interview him and take some photos. So he came to SIR Studios. He says, I'll give you guys an hour. He comes and shows up. There's pictures of it I can show you I got online. I was blown away, man. He sat there and we talked about my dad. I feel like an idiot because this was recorded on a cassette. But when all this stuff was happening, I didn't make it a point. I need that cassette because I could let you hear what he said. One thing I had asked him why my dad didn't make records, because he was around these guys. I came to find out that Cedar Walton, my mother told me, we used to get phone calls from my dad. I remember Charles, Sonny's on the phone. Charles, Jackie McLean's on the phone. Bam. I said, who used to call him the most? She said, oh, that's easy. Cedar Walton.
Wow.
And I had known Cedar. I had never, but my mother told me that I had known Cedar. I had met Cedar through Gerald Hayes was a good friend of mine, Louis Hayes, his brother. But my dad was in that world, but Sonny had told me his thing was he had 5 kids. He didn't want to leave his kids and go on the road. Back then, you went on the road for 5 months, 6 months. It wasn't always flying. It was in a van. My dad refused to leave us in the projects. So he basically gave up his career to be a father because his dad and him did not get along at all. My name shouldn't be Wyatt. It should be Jolly. He doesn't use his father's last name. So it was very deep. But he's been great, and even more so now. We talk, and he's taken on a role to making sure I'm cool, man. We have some great conversations, but yeah. Yeah, I played that card when I got my first thing, and he called me his godson, and it made waves certain places. I thought it would have did better here in America, but the label, it was a Japanese record. It was came out in Japan, and it didn't give me the push that I thought. But I didn't let that stop me, you know.
You know, we were talking before we started recording about the illusion of the jazz industry,
Yeah,
and you started saying some things, and I said, I said, I know, you know, and there's a lot of there's so many misconceptions about this life and the scene and everything. And
totally.
you're saying you have thick skin.
Yeah,
You love the music that much and what it does for you, you can get through anything.
sure,
All that other bullshit that, you know, you have to
totally,
observe and whatnot.
totally. Man, I've had guns pulled to my head growing up, and I walked away every time because I was calm and I thought this guy's desperate, work it out some kind of way. But you know, when you go through situations like that, playing jazz, it's got its problems, but it ain't death. You know what I'm saying? You're not gonna be the end result ain't gonna be you laying on the ground or going to the hospital. So jazz is it's nice, but it's not gonna knock me on my ass, man.
Yeah.
I just have to be honest. I've endured shit way more serious. Think, can I get a solo on this tune?
Yeah, you've been through way worse to know that yeah.
You know, so that's just part of my real stuff. I say that to people because this happens in the world, you know.
Also, I know that you recently did something with Casa overall. He's
Oh man.
tremendous. Can you talk a little bit about working with him and your relationship? You know, used to see him play at jam sessions back 15 years ago and stuff like
Wow,
that.
wow.
Play drums and stuff like that, you know.
Right, right. No, you know, I met him and it was just something about this dude. He took a liking to me because he has a high respect for the music, the people that he works with. He has integrity. He's an honest person. We've had some heavy talks, and I have to say, that video you saw was written, the treatment by his the mother of his son. He has a son now, Lauren DeGraff. She's up for a Grammy for notes from historical concerts, and Alice Coltrane. She's a brilliant writer. She wrote you saw the video I sent you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I sent you that to show you that, you know, jazz is what it is. But this occurred because Casa had met me. He had a lot of respect for me. And one day he sends me this song. He says, I want you to hear something because we talk a lot. But
Where did you guys meet? Like the sessions in New York or
I
just
met him. He had been playing with different people. Who did I meet him playing? He used to play with Arnold Lee, and he played with Wallace Roney, and he played with Jerry Allen. So
Mhm.
through those people, I kind of had a little buzz on him. But then when I met him, he wanted to play with me. He did at certain times, because he was always all over the place. Um, but he was so beautiful because I made a record. It's the Golden Rule for Sonny, and I did that because I wanted Sonny to know I got the message, the golden rule: treat people how you want to be treated, and I live by that, man. I'm seriously, I guess I know me. I'm a pretty fair. I don't owe anybody no money. I didn't cuss anybody out on stage. But basically, Casa took a song that I recorded and sent it to me, and he made it sound like the music from the video. It's not that. It's Grand Street. Of all the songs that Sonny Rollins tuned, Grand Street was he lived near. Sonny used to live in Brooklyn. He used to live near Grand Street. So anyway, he says, I want you to hear something. So I hear it. I say, okay, I hear what you're doing. And he put a rap on it. He said, what do you think about it? I said, man, I like it. I was like, it's showing that I made some music that you guys, hip hop is the new, come on. Everybody's into it. Not everybody, but it's making a lot of people some money.
It
So I
makes a
wasn't
lot of
against it.
money.
Yeah. So he says, man, I want to do a video of this. I said, what do you mean a video? He says, I want you to be in a video. So I'm like, video? Okay, what I gotta do? He says, well, my lady's gonna send you this email with this what goes on, and it, like all that is improvised, man. Nobody wrote those lines.
What you're
That's
saying?
me.
Yeah.
That's me. So the funny thing is, as it's through his man, everybody's like, yeah, that's really how Eric Wyatt is. You don't know him? Check out how he's gonna act in this video. They peeped my, you know, intensity or I don't know what. And I liked it because it actually showed people some things. I'm good friends with Jeff Tain Watts, he
Well, I
was
know
in
you just
my,
did you recorded with him,
yeah,
and
great friend, man. I've been knowing him. It was a dream to actually make music with him. I had played with him but to make the record, man. And Jeff is such a cool, funny, talking about comedian. Jesus, these guys make you have fun, you laugh. It's music, but it's so much humor around those people. Casa, Jeff, definitely. So Lauren sends me the thing, so I read it. I said, so the beautiful part was I was recording that same record at Rudy Van Gelder's. So Casa says, we got everything set. I got my people, but we need a location. So I said, and I had scheduled a session at Rudy's. I said, damn, if I go to Rudy's, I got a really cheap rate. Maybe I could, because I didn't have to bring a band. I was doing everything inside the booth. Uh, I paid for some more time and had them come in. And while we're in the booth mixing and doing my record, help people and constantly setting up the lights, the whole shit. So the people that Rudy's thought, I said, this is going to be connected to the recording, some video, right? But we did that whole skit, and everybody watched it, and they would love even this Maureen Sickler, man, yeah, Maureen Sickler and Don Sickler. It was crazy because I didn't really know what I was going to do, but they just loved it, and they know I was making this stuff up. Every time we did so many takes,
oh,
I
there were a
kept
lot of
like,
takes.
man, they should make the out reel. You know how you see the shit they didn't use.
Yeah, the bloopers or whatever you call it.
They were like,
Outtakes.
"Yo, we need to make a blooper reel." I was cutting tight. I was saying, I was using you big, but I was going you Burger King crown where, I was tearing him up, but I wasn't cursing, and I was feeling bad because I love Casa. I said, "Man, I can't call him that," but then I
Yeah.
called him something, and the whole place cracked up. But he was so humble, and it was just so much fun. I love him. I love his lady. Please support her for her Grammy, and just you meet some good people, man. And I
There are
love
some good
playing.
people out there, and you said something very before we wrap up. You said you just treat people the way you want to be treated. That's the golden rule. And if all the jazz musicians out there in the world thought that way, can you imagine this music's power?
Oh man, there are some that do.
I know there are, yeah. But if everyone
Right,
really
but
was,
you're right. They all, for instance, me and Jeff played out of town. I'll never forget it, man. We eat at this place. I'm the boss. He's on my gig. It's the Velvet Note, Atlanta, Georgia. I got Delbert Felix, who he hadn't seen since college. These guys went to Berkeley. Like, I hired Delbert. Tain hadn't seen him and played with him in 20, 30 years.
wow,
So there's a video on Instagram. It was so funny. Jeff told me, he texted me, I'm 10 minutes away from the hotel. So I go down in the lobby, I'm going to eat. So when he comes in, I see him, and me and Delbert had met. So I had Delbert sit with his back to, where Tain was walking. When Tain saw him, man, it's hilarious because he hadn't seen him. But we went out to eat, man. These are little things, but I never forget, man. We go to the joint. I go wash my hands. I go to pay for my food. Oh, your meal's paid for, sir. Who paid for my meal? That guy with the hat. And it's Jeff Weiss. You know, I can't, I'm blessed to play with and have played with some great people, man, and still
I'm glad. Yeah,
continue, you know.
definitely.
But yeah,
Well, we're gonna have to do part two of this interview. I mean, it's such a pleasure to talk to you. I want to plug your website for you. I know it's Eric Wyatt, your first and last name dash
Eric,
music.com.
Eric, Wyatt-music.com. Oh, we're pretty much close to the,
Yeah, we're gonna have to do part two.
oh man. Well, let me just shout out some real Can I shout out
Oh
some
yeah, 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 yeah.
that's part of the six? You want to know how I maintain. There's a brother named Bob Albert. He has a company called the Culture Rep. Oh, he shot all my videos, the making of the records. He's a great guy. He's on Instagram. He makes he takes clothes and mixes it with culture like tie dye. Great guy. And there's a couple of young brothers I need to say that really helped me. Chris Lowry and Wes Lowry. They're working. They just recorded on an album. Marsha Ambrosius. They're on this new actual Snoop Dogg, Dr. Dre. Come on,
Oh
with
wow,
that's Chris Lowry on the trumpet. I met
cool.
these guys when I was 18, 19. Him and his brother, and they also doing a TV show with Tracy Morgan. These guys went out to LA. They used to play with me in Brooklyn with Robert Glasper, which we didn't even touch on that. With all of that history, but very proud of these young brothers, man. They went out and they're playing on. They've been in rooms with people of high, high caliber work. Dave Chappelle, they worked with him. So there's a lot of people that give because Chris and me are on. Chris is on my. I have a new record coming out next year, which I should be plugging with some really nice people. He helped me produce it, so he's got production on it. But yeah, man, definitely. I didn't think time went by so fast. Wow.
No, it's beautiful, man. I really appreciate it.
Yeah.